I can make more money using your money with my money. One of the first car shows that I ever went to was the Ipswich Concours. That was in a beautiful, fabulous location overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. It was just absolutely stunning. I brought my wife and my son with me, and he's in a stroller having a good time, with Dad and so forth. But one of my favorite cars growing up as a kid was a 959. And I've never was able to see one in person. And here I am at this show, and there is a beautiful 959. And I'm just drooling. I'm looking at this car, I'm walking around it, I'm, want to touch it, feel it, get in it. And this guy's sitting in one of these, foldable chairs, kind of probably 25, 50 feet away from the car. And he's like, "You like the car?" I'm like, "I love it. This was my, dream car as a kid. I mean, I had posters on my wall, you just made my day, my year, my week. I'm like, salivating all over this car." And he's like, "Oh, you can sit in it." So I'm like, "Oh, that's nice, So I open up the car door. I'm kind of scared, trying to get in it, not mess up the bolsters, get in the proper way and so forth. So I'm sitting in the car, I'm looking around, and it smelled new still. And here it is, the year 2000. I was like, wow, this is just fabulous. The guy's white-haired, grumpy old guy and shorts on. You'd never expect this guy owns a 959. He goes, "Yeah, it's my car." And just start talking and shooting the crap back and forth. He's like, "Well, I got about, 50 cars." And I was like, wow. So I pull out my business card. Here I am all proud, and I'm working, for Premier. And I hand him my card, and it says exotic vintage and leasing. And the guy goes, "I'll never need your money." And he just throws the card into the car, right? Probably 7, 8 years later, I get a phone call. And guess who it is? It's this gentleman. And he was a very wealthy individual. He unfortunately got into a very difficult situation, and now he needed some capital. So he wanted to hawk some of his cars and lease them through Premier. So I'm like, okay, why would this guy who never needs me all of a sudden need me? Can't be a good situation. I asked him to send me his tax returns, his financial statements, and so forth, and send a description of the cars that he would, want me to lend on. He had a very eclectic collection from, pre-war cars, Jaguars, you name it. He had a very well-rounded collection of automobiles. Some vintage Ferraris. I would say probably close to $30-40 million. Didn't hear for about 2 or 3 weeks. And all of a sudden, FedEx comes. And the guy has a dolly and about 6 boxes. And he puts them on, comes in, goes, "Doug Ewing?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." Sign for these boxes. And they're boxes like this big, I'm like, what the heck's in here? I didn't order anything. So I bring them down to my office and I start opening up. The guy's tax returns are in binders that are literally this big. And I'm going through this. I'm like, are you kidding me? And he sent me his bank statements. He sent me the books on the cars, okay, with pictures and photo albums and everything about the cars. I'm just sat there and I read this stuff for like a week, and I'm like, this guy's in trouble. I'm not doing this. So I had to unfortunately call him up and say, "You're right, we're not going to do business." Never. It turns out that he ended up having to, unfortunately, liquidate his collection of cars to take care of some obligations that he had and some endowments. He gave a lot away to charity, and unfortunately, some bad business decisions hurt his cash flow, and he had to liquidate cars and to pay for the obligations that he had. There's very few lenders that lend on vintage cars and understand them, understand the market, and so forth. So yes, we're willing, at a lower LTV, lower loan to value, we are more than willing to write a lease on one of their vehicles so they can cash out, as long as they have strong financials and cash flow. So, we look at the big picture and we come up with a number that everybody's happy with, and we move forward. Premier got recently acquired by OneFB, which is a bank. So now we're federally regulated by the FDIC and so forth. And we're going to be able to come out with a bunch of new products. We are going to be offering, conventional loan products as well as the leasing products, which might help as far as taking cash out of a vehicle a little easier. Currently with a lease, the leasing company is the title owner. So you're transferring title, and there might be a sales tax obligation if we convert it into a lease. But with some of the new products, maybe a bridge note or blue note or something of that's coming down the pipeline, we'll be able to just put a lien on the title, so there's no transfer. It will save them in sales tax. So stay tuned. We are growing quickly right now. We were acquired April of last year. As you know, Mitch is playing his guitar and driving off into the sunset in his little Alpha, but he has left the company in really good hands and found the right company to buy us and bring us to the next level. The hardest part of my job is educating consumers, okay? They don't totally understand the product that we offer. And a lot of our clients are extremely wealthy individuals, okay? And they could simply write a check any day of the week for the car that they're buying. And I asked a client that I became friends with over the years and, vacationed with and flew around in his private jet and so forth. And I asked him, I'm like, why do you use me? And he goes, Doug, I can make more money using your money with my money. Okay, so he goes, why do I want to tie up $1 million, $2 million in an automobile when I can make 10, 15, 20% plus on that money? And what am I paying you at the current time? Probably rates were, in the 5s, maybe 6 percentile range. He goes, so I'm making money with your money, okay? And that's what makes sense. But as I started to say, the hardest part of my job is educating the consumer. What we offer is not a conventional type lease. This is not like the type of lease that you're going to find on a Mercedes-Benz or a Porsche or something of that nature. Those are considered closed-end leases where basically it's a long-term rental agreement. As long as you stay within the miles and the term and so forth, you simply hand the keys back at the end of the term and you walk away. With our product, it's more of a lease-to-own type product. It's considered open-ended, whereas the consumer, the end user, is responsible for the residual at the end of the term. If they do stay in the vehicle for the full term, they have to buy the vehicle at the end. Or we can dispose of it, but whatever we get for it is what, bottom line is, they could either make money or lose money, but typically if we're buying the car at the end of the term and trying to liquidate it, it's a situation where we're going to be able to keep the proceeds versus them. But as I stated, most of the consumers are not in these vehicles that long. This is a tool that gives them the ability to get in and out of automobiles easily. Plus, there's certain tax advantages to them as well. A lot of states collect sales tax monthly on the monthly payment. So instead of tying up a lot of money and paying the sales tax on the full purchase price of the car, if you plan on keeping a vehicle 18, 24 months, which is the average time that one of our lessees is in the automobile, you're only paying sales tax on that monthly payment as you go. And there's states such as California, for example, they don't have a used car tax credit. If you buy a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 car, whatever it is, you're paying the sales tax, it's lost. Especially everyone wants to keep up with the Joneses. They're in something new and different. So if you're in it only 18, 24 months, beneficial way to do it is lease it and just pay the sales tax on a monthly basis. And then there's people that are in our industry and they have legitimate tax write-offs. So they can use it as a business expense. And with a lease, you're able to write off pre-tax dollars. So it makes sense financially for them as well.
We love the team at Patrick Adair Designs because they make rings and other jewelry out of some of the most amazing and interesting materials on Earth and even occasionally from space. But they've honestly outdone themselves with their latest creation. They have made a series of rings using the aluminum that they cut out of an OEM wheel for a Bugatti Veyron. Obviously, I love the Bugatti Veyron, maybe one day, I hope, but they've also used forged carbon fiber, gold, and platinum to accent the rings however you want them. And honestly, as cool as the rings are, I think I like the case they come in even better. They have replicated the W16 engine on the top out of sterling silver. It's a cherry wood box with like carbon fiber and titanium screws. Super duper cool. So check it out now at the link in the description below to get yourself a super cool ring from a great company, Patrick Adair Designs. And if you order now during the month of July, you'll also get free at checkout either a carbon fiber ring or a tungsten pendant. So they've been a great supporter of VINwiki all these years, and they've created an awesome product here. So check it out now at the link in the description below.